Christmas Day, their old familiar carols play, and wild and sweet the words repeat of peace on earth, goodwill to men. I thought how as the day had come, the belfries of all Christendom had rolled along the unbroken song of peace on earth, goodwill to men. And in despair I bowed my head. There is no peace on earth, I said, for hate is strong and mocks the song of peace on earth, goodwill to men. Then pealed the bells more loud and deep. God is not dead, nor doth he sleep. The wrong shall fail, the right prevail, with peace on earth, goodwill to men.
I want to begin by thanking your pastor and my dearest of friends, Reverend Alison Berry, for inviting me to share a message with you on this, the most joyful day of the Christian liturgical year. For on this day, we remember and celebrate the rather unremarkable birth of a poor Jewish baby boy in the trough of a stable in Bethlehem town some 2,000 years ago. All the elements agree that this was an agonizing childbirth in desperate circumstances, and yet nothing could ever overpower the joy which this child's birth awakens in those who follow him as the Christ. And so for some time now we have all been rather busy with external preparations for the celebration of this birth. And on these externals we have spent much time, utilized many resources, and expended a whole lot of energy. After all, there were so many cards and emails to be sent, so many gifts to be bought, so much food to be prepared, so many invitations to be extended, and so many libations to be enjoyed. And now that all the external preparations are complete, here we are on this Christmas morning as we prepare to settle into a day of joyful celebration with family and friends. It is, of course, important to remember that this day's festivities are meant to be expressions of something outstandingly significant and enduring for people of Christian faith. And we know this to be the case simply because so many ordinary people of faith have reminded us down through the years that with this child's birth dawns the shattering of all the divisive ways of our world. What is more, these ordinary believers celebrated this birth not with highfalutin words or spectacular ceremonies, but instead by striving daily to allow that shattering to be the North Star of their lives and of their way of viewing the world. Because for nearly 2,000 years, generations of faithful believers have seen in this child's face the face of God as love. And in this beatific vision, they have experienced the beginning of the graced fulfillment of the deepest longing of the human heart, namely, the longing for a world in which the divisions, pains, fears, and hatreds of all the years give way to salam, shalom, peace. In other words, these believers have experienced their hopes and fears to be so met in this child's birth that it was experienced as the dawning of a world of peace, a world charged with the grandeur of divinity's loving self-presence. Or in the words of today's gospel reading, a world in which divinity took on flesh in this child, and thereby lives so intimately with us that everywhere we can see divinity's glory, which is full of grace and of truth. Whenever we ongoingly accept this grace of divinity's living self-presence in our hearts, we are given the power to realize the truth of what we have always been, namely, children of God. And even more importantly, we are given the power to see the truth that everyone, everywhere, without exception, are and have always been children of God. Today's gospel reading assures us that the light of this grace and truth of divinity's living presence shines in the darkest places of our hearts and of our world, and that this is a light that darkness cannot overpower. So, when we allow this light to be our North Star, all the scales of division fall from our eyes, and we see the dazzling possibility of a world in which there is neither Jew nor Palestinian, neither slave nor free, neither female nor male, neither queer nor straight, neither immigrant nor citizen, for we all are, according to Paul's letter to the Galatians, one in Christ. It is because of this experience, which shatters all divisions, that down through the years this child has been called Emmanuel, Wonderful Counselor, Prince of Peace. And beyond all these names, he has been and is simply and lovingly called the Christ. Sadly, whenever we turn our backs on what was revealed in this birth, namely the awesome power of loving kindness from which all things came to be and are sustained in being, whenever we turn our backs on this, then divisions rage in our hearts and in our world. Cursory attention these days to events in our world bombard us with overwhelming evidence of such divisions, along with all their numbing cruelties. These divisions and cruelties assault us with atrocities so staggeringly unfathomable that we often find ourselves bewildered by doubt. In all honesty, it is hard sometimes to really believe that this infant's birth is a world-shattering revelation of a living love from whom this immense universe sprung into being. Nevertheless, despite our doubts, we can always refuse to despair by clinging in faith to St. Paul's claim that we are earthenware jars that hold the treasure of an overwhelming power that comes from God and not from us. And so, despite all our doubts, we can stubbornly believe in the presence of this overwhelming power, not because we reason our way to this faith or because our world gives us evidence for this faith. No, we stubbornly believe because we are confronted daily by the stark choice between hope and despair. Whenever we are tempted to accept the current state of our world as final and unredeemable, we inevitably feel the reach of the soft, slippery tentacles of despair and all of its nihilistic offsprings. However, Whenever we see the current state of our world by the light that shines from this child's birth, a stubborn hope comes alive in us, so that wherever we look in the world, at family and strangers, at friends and enemies, at mountains and oceans, at all manner of beings, wherever we look in the world, we see the agonizing birth pangs of that overwhelming power of loving kindness coming forth in all kinds of circumstances, some desperate, some not, some somewhere in between. And we are uplifted by the belief that this forthcoming cannot be overcome by divisions or fears or hatreds, cannot be overcome by lies or pain or injustice, cannot be overcome even by death itself. In short, we come to see the world, the universe, and all its many beings as this child will come to see it when he attains adulthood. Obviously, this faith may appear foolish to some and may be a stumbling block for others, but it is at best an earnestly hopeful attempt to answer a question posed by Jesus in Luke's Gospel. When I come again, will I find an undying faith on earth? Down through the years, throngs of believers have said, yes, here we are, as they stumblingly did their part, no matter how inconsistently, to make the world be what Jesus claimed it is destined to be, namely, a kingdom in which the power of loving kindness reigns supreme. And so, on this morning, cognizant of the state of our world, we joyfully join that throng of believers as we celebrate the dawning of the kingdom of heaven in the birth of this child. And we ask for the grace to be made equal to the part we are given to play in making this kingdom a living reality, not only on this day, but on every day of our lives. It is in this spirit of discipleship that I wish us all a most joyful Christmas. God bless.